there's a subheading here titled, Are We That Different? The feminist revolution of the 1970s made talk of inborn differences in the behavior of men and women. Male-female differences were not inborn, they argued, but simply learned and thus could be unlearned. Okay. But rather than disappear, the evidence for innate gender differences began to mount. Scientists, for example, uncovered neurological differences between the sexes, both in the brain structure and in its functioning, forcing every objective thinker to conclude that nature is at least as important as nurture after all. There has to be equality that takes into account that women are the ones who have the babies. While science has shown that men and women are in fact wired differently, we have difficulty accepting, let alone appreciating our differences. And that is where a great deal of trouble in marriage begins. Whenever we conduct a marriage retreat, we eventually divide the group in half for a brief exercise. Wives in one circle, husbands in another. We then ask a question that always generates a lively discussion among the same-sex group. What do men need to know about women, and what do women need to know about men? The responses are predictable. Men says women are too emotional. Women says men aren't sensitive enough. Men says women don't feel as much pressure to provide the family's income. Women say men don't do their fair share of the household work. Men says women frequently deny their real power. Women say men are afraid to be vulnerable or out of control. Men say women talk too much. Women say men don't listen. Okay. The point of our exercise is not to gripe about the opposite sex, but to help couples see, after all, that there are predictable differences between the sexes. And second, to realize that the differences they thought were personal, strictly between them and their spouses, are often shared by most other couples. I thought we were marriage mutants before this exercise. One couple told us, just realizing how universal our differences are lets us know we are normal and we can work it out. Making marriage work, however, does not depend solely on recognizing our differences. And there is a quote here by Theodora Rick, and it says, in our civilization, men are afraid they will not be man enough, and women are afraid that they might be considered only women. It is a matter of appreciating those differences too. We have seen some couples identify their differences and then try to eliminate them. Wayne, for example, our case study, decided Terry's more expressive emotion needed to be curbed. There is no need to spend your energy on getting so emotional, he would say. Wanting to be a team player, Terry tried desperately to stifle her natural expression of emotions and be like Wayne. Both were sincere in their efforts to bridge the gender gap, but they were doomed from the beginning. Gender differences are not eased by creating symmetry. By having men and women thinking, feeling, and doing everything alike. The fact is that men and women are different, and couples who openly acknowledge their differences and appreciate them improve their chances of avoiding strife. Plus, they increase their level of intimacy by delighting in their differences. The key, of course, is knowing exactly what those differences are. Now, how are we different is subheading. How are we different? You will always find exceptions to the rule, but research and experience constantly point to a fundamental and powerful distinction between the sexes. Men focus on achievement, women focus on relationships. It sounds overly simplistic, and it probably is. But remembering this general rule can save every couple wear and tear on their marriage and strengthen their bond. Leslie and I, like other couples, learned these essential differences between the sexes soon after we married. Leslie's perspective. During our 4th or 5th month of marriage, I remember wondering why Les wasn't as romantic as he used to be. Before we got married, he planned exciting evenings, kissed me at red traffic lights, saved ticket stubs from our dates, bought me flowers, and even wrote tender love poems. But after we got married, his romantic side waned. It wasn't that he stopped his romantic ways altogether, but something was distinctly different. Why? I wondered to myself. Was I doing something wrong? Was he having doubts about marriage? Not until I discovered the fundamental differences between men and women could I accurately answer these questions. Les, like the majority of men, is pragmatic. He focuses upon a future goal and needs to believe in the practical value of that goal. He justifies a present activity by what it will accomplish in the future. He asks, what good can this produce? He likes words like progress and useful. He can be very patient doing little romantic things, so long as they ultimately prove productive. I, on the other hand, am like the majority of women. I focus on feelings and activities of the present for their own sake. I don't need a goal. It is enough to simply enjoy the moment. I ask, what is going on and how can I know and feel it? I don't need to be productive or see the utility of something. In fact, achievement seems deadly cold and distracting. I like words like connected and relational. I can be very patient doing romantic little things simply because the doing has its own value. Of course, Les has a different perspective. This is the reason why men change. This is the reason why men change.